an absolutely wild day in the world of Magic the Gathering. Wizards of the Coast has revealed a ton of spoilers for the upcoming Foundations Magic set, and we have absolutely broken Eldrazi, insane Hydras, overpowered Angels, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. This is, without a doubt, the most powerful core set ever made.
Magic. I am a wizard! History. I'm an old wizard! The Magic Historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. My friends, I hope the day finds you well because we have gathered for a fun installment of Mega Magic News. This one is all about Foundations. Now, I know there has been a ton of things going on with Magic. New rules changes, Universe Beyond stuff, and I promise you, I'm going to cover all of that. But the reality is, I went away for the weekend to a convention, and I am currently sick. So I'm secretly recording this video while my wife is out because she's going to be really mad that I did this instead of resting. So we're going to take a look at a bunch of spoilers and have a good time with them. Before we do that, just want to let you know my Hatcher movie review channel is going to have a Halloween horror spectacular released today. So I'm going to leave a link to the channel down in the description. I would love it if you went over there and subscribed and watched our newest video where we talk about 10 amazing, maybe not all amazing, horror movies. Okay, so with that out of the way, we got to quickly get into the spoilers because I got to get this done before she gets home. We're starting off the Foundation Insanity with the Sire of 7 Deaths. This is a 7 casting cost Eldrazi that is 7/7, First Strike, Vigilance, Menace, Trample, Reach, Lifelink, Ward, pay 7 life. So remember in the teasers, we were told we were going to get a creature with 7 different abilities. Here it is. Flavor text says, born of the infinite void between realities, the Eldrazi have one goal, to consume. This is a great introduction for beginners to the concept of Eldrazi. Look at how towering and intense this crazy amalgamation of arms and heads, all these limbs and tentacles. It is a horrific being, and it really grabs your attention. All of those abilities. First Strike and Vigilance. Oh, look at me. I hit first and I'm ready to block. Medicine Trample. You have to block me with 2 creatures and I can trample over them. Reach and Lifelink. So it's like, yo, I can grab anybody out of the sky. Anything I grab, I consume for life. And also, I'm really hard to get rid of because you have to pay 7 life to even target me. And it can go into anybody's deck because it doesn't have specific color requirements. So ultimately, this is going to be a big gut punch, whoa level card. And the power level, obviously, of this set is off the chain compared to every core set that we've seen. So we got a ton of cards to look at. We're going to just blast through them here because like I said, I've got a time crunch. I got to do this before my wife gets back. So next up, we've got Bloodthirsty Conqueror. 2 black and 3 for a 5/5 flying death touch vampire knight. The fact that he's a knight too is pretty cool. Whenever an opponent loses life, you gain that much life. And then it's got the reminder, damage causes loss of life. So anytime your opponent gets hurt, you get stronger. Totally feels like a vampire. Flavor text says, this town swims with such exquisite blood. I will take every drop for my own. And look at the artwork. Look at the beefy flying vampire with this crazy wicked barbed axe. And even more impressive is the mournful shield, which totally matches his armor, but just has this totally intimidating and either sad or angry, depending on how you view it, face molded into it. And I like the fact that he's flying in this dark and murky sky and he's got the moon right behind him and it's almost like the opposite of an angelic halo. So that is a great vibe. And obviously another card that feels so good when you're a beginner, man. 5 mana for a 5/5 flyer with Death Touch can take out things that are way bigger than it, right? Like that's awesome. Next up, High Society Hunter. 2 black and 3 for a 5/3 flyer. Whenever this creature attacks, you may sack another creature. If you do put a +1/+1 counter on this creature, whenever another non-token creature dies, draw a card. This is wild. Every time you attack, you can just be like, I'll sack a weak little guy. Here you go, vampire. Feed on him. And just like, yeah, let me suck it up, big boy. And then gets bigger, stronger from the blood, but also you get to draw a card. When I started, you would pay this casting cost for a vampire that was a 4/4 flyer. And when it damaged a creature and that creature died, it got a +1/+1 counter. So this is leagues above it. And the whole, look at how high she's flying up in the sky here, right? She's literally just holding Buddy by the throat going, oh, thanks, dinner. The flavor text says, you've been a marvelous servant. Consider this your final assignment. And this ties into Black's whole sacrifice things for gain. Who cares the cost? All we want is power. So that is an epic vibe. Flying high above the village, where obviously a moment later, she wipes her mouth and then just tosses them aside like you'd throw away an empty bag of Doritos on the side of the road. Stop littering, you litter bug! Okay. Then we've got Coma, the World Eater. 2 blue, 2 green, and 3 get you an 8/12 legendary serpent. Can't be countered. It's got trample and ward 4. The set has huge ward abilities. Whenever Coma deals combat damage to a player, create 4 3/3 blue serpent creature tokens named Coma's Coil. So he's just this endless serpent, and that's represented by different parts of him coming out as the tokens, and you can just wham slam with like extra parts of his body. Every time you hit with them, it's like it's coiling more around the player, so there's more of Coma in the battle. The gods imprisoned Coma, fearing he would eventually devour the cosmos itself. Tell me that's not epic flavor. You literally have a serpent that can devour worlds, and it's like, okay, we gotta lock him up, bro. Because if we don't, he could eat the entirety of existence. That is epic flavor. And again, another card that if I was new to Magic, I'd be blown away by. Look at it. It's just crazy. And the artwork very much feels like the concept of the card. An endless serpent that is going to take over everything. You can see him tangled up in this tree, and look at how long his body is, and it goes off in all directions. So it's like he's an endless serpent. Very cool. After that, we've got Progenitus. Now, this is a reprint, one of the few that I've included because, I mean, bro, look at this thing. 2 of every color for a 10/10 legendary Hydra avatar. It's got protection from everything. I remember when this came out in the Alara block. Protection from everything, jaw-dropping ability. You just go, wait, everything? Everything. So if Progenitus would go into a graveyard from anywhere, you reveal it, put it into the library instead, so he'll just keep coming over and over. The flavor text says the soul of the world has returned, right? And I love the fact that you see it from a distance, looming up out of the dark clouds. It's multiple heads. Like, that's a forest. That is a forest down there. Think about the scale of this. It's so impressive. You just can't catch you catch a hint of it off in the distance. You're like, what is that? Oh, no. I don't want any of that. So, amazing reprint. Then we've got the Herald of Eternal Dawn. 3 white and 4 for a 6/6 angel. It's got flash, so you can slap it out at instant speed. It's got flying, and you can't lose the game, and your opponents can't win the game. I did a live stream last night where people asked me the kinds of cards that I would like to see in Foundations, and I said it should be big, flashy effects that make beginners go, whoa. And I specifically said Platinum Angel. And somebody pointed out, yo, they actually made a 6/6 white Platinum Angel. And I'm like, oh, cool. I didn't even realize it had flash as well. So this is bonkers. You can just be like, oh, you thought you were going to win? But now Angel shows up out of nowhere. Guess what? I can't lose, chump, and you can't win. The flavor text says, have patience, brave one. Just as the sun returns each morning, I will be there to drive back the terrors of night. I love the calm, unhurried pose that the angel has, right? Sitting in repose here, just, yo, I am chilling out on my little like dais here. Looks like she's floating above like a little platform. So she just appears out of nowhere with like double halo action and exudes this aura where it's like, okay, we cannot be overcome. That is epic. The flavor level on this is fantastic. And conceptually, this is just a very satisfying card to have as well, right? So a great include, a fantastic choice for beginners. And Another indication of the crazy power level of this set, right? Moving on. We've got Lunar Insight. 1 blue and 2 for a sorcerer that says draw a card for each different mana value among non-land permanents you control. And that's not converted mana value. So if you have a guy who has 2 green and 1, and you have a guy who has 1 green and 2, that's 2 different mana values, right? So ultimately you're going to get to draw a load of cards off this for 3 mana. It's going to be, considering the standard right now is like a blue and 2 will let you draw 2 cards, you're guaranteed to get more than that, right? The flavor text says, when wolves howl at the moon, I can't help but wonder, does it answer? What secrets might it share when humans aren't listening? So this is you literally gaining knowledge from the moon. I feel like this was probably artwork originally intended for another reprint of Ponder, and they've repurposed it for this. But it's interesting how the different phases of the moon are shown there, and you can actually view it as well as a crown, right? So the knowledge is flowing in from it. This is some really striking artwork. I dig it. After that, we've got Ashroot, no, it's not a chicken, Ashroot Animist. A green, a red, and 2 for a 4/4 lizard druid with trample. When this creature attacks, another target creature you control gains trample and gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is this creature's power. That's amazing. You get to give another creature +4/+4 and trample. The land is my steed, and I am its champion. This lizard is having the time of his life. This druid with his cool little curled root staff, and you see what essentially looks like an earth elemental. He is riding the actual earth itself, and his roots are all coating it, covering it, infusing it with his elemental magic, right? Like, bro, this is some epic level flavor. And I love the triumphant, fun vibe. Like, he is literally having the best day of his life. Giddy up, Earthy, let's go. Wacha, wacha. I love it. I love it. Then we've got High Fae Trickster, a blue and 3 for a 4/2 flyer with flash. It's a fairy wizard, and you can cast spells as if they had flash. Just all your spells at instant speed. Like, this is so crazy. I keep imagining this from the perspective of somebody just starting Magic. And bro, this is amazing, right? Like, how awesome would that feel? Put that out at instant speed. Now I can play everything whenever I want. So sorceries, not for me's, bro. The flavor text says, you humans think even slower than you move. You don't realize you've already lost. And look at how elegant this trickster looks. And the crazy thing to me is this looks like a 1/1, but it's a 4/2. The elemental power that she is bringing, right? It's got to be off the charts. She's just going to freeze you. Is she going to blast your brain with arcane magic? The fact that it's a 4/2 flyer for 4, I really can't get over the power level on all of this stuff. Wizards really has lost their minds. That I guess they're just priming new players for the insanity that Magic has become, and it's going to get crazier from here because this is meant as the baseline introductory power level to people. It's crazy. Then we got Zul Ashur Lichlord. 1 black and 1 for a 2/2 legendary zombie warlock. Ward, pay 2 life. Tap, you may cast target zombie creature card from your graveyard this turn. While her foes took stock of their casualties, she ordered hers to renew the assault. That's a pretty sweet bit of flavor text. And I love the fact that you have the 2 undead flanking on either side of her, and you can see another one in the background, but the 2 are kind of framing her with a bit of asymmetrical symmetry. And then down here in the actual text box, you can see the zombie that she has just risen. The power is flowing through her staff, in her eyes, in the hand that's facing down, that's drawing this undead back up to battle, right? And the fact that you can just keep reusing your zombies with this, there's a lot of zombie players who are going to be super stoked about this. And the artwork is awesome, right? Like, overall, for 2 mana, you get a lot here, but it doesn't feel too powerful. The ward isn't too much to overcome. It's just a couple of life points, and it only lets you return zombies. So it's very tribal in its nature, and I really dig the vibe of it. It doesn't feel too overpowered, honestly. This one is just really cool for the overall flavor, the little details, like even just the raven on top of the flagstaff there, all of it, the barren trees, it all gives that sense of necrotic energy, and I really dig the vibe of this. Then we've got Scrawling Crawler, Phyrexian action, bro. They're going all over the place with this. This is awesome. 3 mana Phyrexian Construct artifact. It's a 3/2. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player draws a card. Whenever an opponent draws a card, that player loses 1 life. So it's an Underworld Dreams with a Phyrexian Arena kind of stapled together, right? Phyrexian Arena lets you draw a card and lose a life each turn. This lets your opponent draw cards as well, but it punishes them for every card draw. So they're going to take 2 damage a turn from it, right? Because of their regular draw and then the actual card. Well, they're going to take 1 on their turn and 1 on your turn because it's at the beginning of your upkeep that each player draws a card. So it's not exactly the same. And actually, the fact that it happens during your upkeep means you can take advantage of it with sorcery level discard, where you can be like, you draw it on my turn, boom, I'm going to knock it out of your hand before you have a chance to use it. Flavor text says, we will sow perfection into the soft flesh of the multiverse. Argent Etchings, plate 38, passage 8. And you can see this thing is just got all these different plates around it where it is writing like basically vows of Phyrexia. Like that is amazing. The Phyrexians are some of the coolest villains in the multiverse, right? So this is nice to see. Then we've got Arabo the First Fang, who likes bearded cat boys. Look at that stout little body. 1 white and 2 for a 2/2. Other cats you control get +1/+1, so he is a cat lord. He's legendary, though, so you can only have 1 of them out. Whenever Arabo or another non-token cat you control enters, create a 1/1 white cat creature token. So they're really 2/2s because he's giving them +1/+1. It said all cats in the multiverse trace their lineage back to him, from the meekest kitten to the mightiest lion. I don't know how I feel about that flavor text, honestly. The fact that he's supposed to be the progenitor of all cats, yeah, he doesn't feel epic enough for that specifically. But just from the perspective of a cat lord, the fact that you have these like lions, the kings of the savannah, kneeling basically, or not kneeling, but like bowing their heads in acknowledgement of his power is pretty epic. He's only a 2/2. He looks much bigger though, doesn't he? Like, doesn't the artwork say to you 4/4, 5/5? Regular lions would be like 2/2. So, I don't know. The overall flavor on Arabo is mid-level to me, but the power, right? Boosting up your cats, making more cats, super satisfying. Let's keep going. We're on a clock. We got to get this done before my lady gets back. Exemplar Alight, 2 white and 2 for a 3/3 flying angel. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on her. Whenever you put 1 or more +1/+1 counters on her, draw a card. But that ability triggers only once a turn. So this is nuts. It's going to grow every time you gain life, and you're going to get a free card draw off it each turn. Like, gain life on your opponent's turn, draw a card. Gain life on your turn, draw a card. Now, on its own, it doesn't have lifelink, so it's not going to actually... Like, you need other things to take advantage of it, but... There's tons of cards that run away with games just by getting +1/+1 counters when you gain life, let alone giving you gas with card draw, right? The flavor text says, I will not rest until you know peace. And it's like, I can't be peaceful looking at your weird face, okay? This is one of those crazy, Zendikar angels that has the halo in front of its eyes. So it's got a very particular vibe to it. But man, it is ugly. What an ugly looking angel, but the artwork's awesome. All the wings arrayed on either side of it, and then down below you can see like 2 cliffs on either side. You see the Hedron in the background. It totally gives that vibe of Zendikar. So pretty solid card overall. Then we've got Valkyrie's Call. This is insane. 2 white and 3 enchantment. Whenever a non-token, non-angel creature you control dies, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control with a +1/+1 counter on it. It has flying and is an angel in addition to its other types. You literally rebirth all of your dead as worthy angels. Welcome, worthy one. It's like, yeah, you're going to Starnheim, which is like, it's like that's their like epic warrior heaven over on Kaldheim, right? Like, that it's like the equivalent of Valhalla. So everybody gets brought back as worthy angels as long as they serve you. It doesn't matter if it's a demon, bro. You could literally summon up the most heinous demon, and when it dies, it will be rebirthed as a worthy angel, which is insanely divine magic. And The artwork showing the Valkyrie there with its wings raised in triumph with the sword, the light blasting out behind it, and somebody like sitting up. They've just died. They're sitting up, reaching out to the angel as these wings sprout from their back, as the angelic essence flows into their body, and they are ordained as an epic new angel, rising up into the sky to battle even stronger than they were before. That's incredible. Like, this is such an awesome card, and also so broken. This is so busted and dumb, bro. I will throw this in my cube 100%. This set is out of its mind. It's totally crazy. Then we got Archmage of Runes. 2 blue and 3 for a 3/6 giant wizard. Blue gets some beef, boys. All right. Instants and sorceries cost 1 less for you to cast. And whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, draw a card. And that is not limited to 1 a turn. So you can go like that Lunar Insight that we saw before. Oh, look, I can cast it for 2 mana. Oh, look, I can cast all the instants and sorceries that I drew. Oh, look, just by casting it, I got to draw an extra card. It's nuts. He's so intent on his study that others think him frozen in place. That's a really cool idea. Imagine you stumble on this. There's this giant, and there's all these cryptic runes just either like rotating around his head or just hanging in place. And you see these big stone slabs. Is this a frozen giant? Is it held in stasis? And then you see an eye move down towards you. And all of a sudden, the runes glow and spells start flying. And as they fly, other runes start appearing above his head. And you know, you are doomed. Like, bro, epic flavor. Very cool card. Then we've got Homunculus Horde. 1 blue and 3 for a 2/2. This one's goofy. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a token that's a copy of this creature. So each token will also trigger this ability. So more and more and more, right? I mean, the artwork's got a Monsters, Inc. kind of vibe to it, doesn't it? That's why you triple check all decimals when commissioning a new batch of homunculi. And that's an Azoria senator freaking out. What have you done, you idiot? These things keep multiplying, right? So this is goofy fun. I like it. Then we got Sphinx of Forgotten Lore. 2 blue and 2 for a 3/3 Sphinx with flash and flying. Whenever it attacks, target instant or sorcery in your graveyard gains flashback until end of turn. Flashback equals its mana cost. Again, dumb with the giant that we saw, right? Get a reduced cost on your spells, get to draw. Even when you flash back instants or sorceries, you get to draw off of it. The Sphinx shows up out of nowhere, so you can have a surprise blocker right before your turn, or just boom, put it out and get ready for your next turn. Surprise, cast it before my turn. On your turn, I'm going to be swinging in and casting stuff. Not too shabby. The artwork is pretty standard fare for a Sphinx. He's standing there up at the top of a staircase with his wings that almost don't look big enough to bear his weight. He's got a big, fat, heavy body and the crazy little goofy helmet. So I honestly don't know if he really is like mythic level full on, but I'm guessing if you get to attack with him multiple times in a row, getting to cast the spells from your graveyard Snapcaster style is pretty amazing. But he feels like on the lower end of mythic craziness. Then we've got Twin Flame Tyrant. 2 red and 3 for a 3/5 flying dragon. It's a 2-headed dragon, so 2 heads is better than 1, baby. If a source you control would deal damage to an opponent or permanent opponent controls, it deals double that damage instead. Absolutely amazing, and the flavor text is great. Job only paid enough for 1 head. I'm out. And that's Perrin Veteran Mercenary. You didn't pay me to take down a 2-headed dragon. I'm leaving. The fact that this dragon's magic is so powerful that anything that harms your opponent is ultimately doubled is crazy. And just the artwork is amazing. It's like on a little cliff top there, and you can see like lava flowing up at its roars, lightning crackling in the background. It is a master of the elements. This feels very, very mythical to me. And basically, it's a 3/5, but when you're attacking with it, it's actually going to do 6 damage to your opponent or their creatures. This is very, very, very awesome. Like, it has such that really good gut feeling of insane power that beginners are going to love. And again, another indicator, this set's out of its mind. Then we got Mossborn Hydra, a 3 and 2 for an elemental Hydra that has trample. It only enters as a 1/1, but Landfall. Whenever land you control enters, double the number of +1/+1 counters on it. 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. Like, woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! And bro, I love big, dumb green creatures, and this screams insane times to me. The artwork feels a little red-greenish. When you look at its body, it looks like it has elemental fire in it, and in its mouths and everything. So I don't know if this artwork was originally intended for something else, but just imagine, as you bring out the lands, all of a sudden it just, whoa, it's got another head. Oh, it's got 2 more heads. Whoa, this thing's amazing. It taps into the elemental nature of my lands and doesn't require me to feed any mana to it. Like, bro. And then they just slap trample on it. So you are going to get got. Attack with a 32/32 trampler. Oh, yeah, all day. I love it. I love this card. Then we've got Alesha, who laughs at fate. A red, a black, and 1 for a 2/2 human warrior. She's a legend. First strike. When Alesha attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on her. And raid. At the beginning of your end step, if you attack this turn, return target creature with mana value less than or equal to Alesha's power from your graveyard to the battlefield. Not too shabby. Straightforward. First time you swing with it, it's a 3/3. And as long as it doesn't die in combat, boom. Now you get to get a creature that costs 3 or less straight into play. Then 4, then 5, you know? So that is pretty cool. The idea of laughing at fate, where it's like, check it out. These people are dead, but they're not. Fate means nothing to me. That's epic, right? After that, we've got Kakar! Zephyr Awakener. A blue, a white, and 2 for a 3/4 legendary bird wizard. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you either exile a target creature you control, return it to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step, or create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. So the spirit tokens are the little birds flying all around it. I really like this. You can use it to keep bringing creatures back and forth, right? And just to trigger their abilities over and over and over. Or you can just make a bunch of little 1/1 donks. Get 'em, birdies! Kakar seems pretty sweet. Then we've got Leyline Axe. 4 mana for an artifact equipment. If it's in your starting hand, you can begin with it on the battlefield instead. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, has double strike and trample, and it equips for 3. So to me, this actually feels like not too bad. I know I've said in previous videos, free cast spells that you can start with and play are a problem, but this one isn't strong enough that I think it causes a problem. I think this is the sweet spot where it's fun to have it out ready to go. If you get out an early creature, you can put it on it. It's not going to be too broken, but it's still going to be very satisfying. And the artwork is great. It's got that like Excalibur stuck in the rock kind of vibe to it. It says it's awaiting a worthy wielder. So you just walk up, draw this crazy like flaming axe out and just go, let's do this, smash, smash, smash. It makes anybody into a potent warrior. So pretty solid and skirting the line of being just powerful enough. Then we got Giganosaurus. This is a reprint. I had to include it because I love Giganosaurus. 5 green for a 10/10. No flavor text or anything because he doesn't have any abilities. Look at him towering over the trees, yelling at the pterodactyls. I'm gonna eat you. This is the coolest looking Giganosaurus I've ever seen. And I'm so stoked they put it back in the base set. Hold on, I need a little sip of tea here. My throat's drying up. So Giganosaurus, absolutely amazing. And that's all the cards we have to talk about. We made it through before my lady got home. So just a reminder, the Halloween horror thing going on over on the Hatcher Movie Talks thing is ready. Or it's not ready. We'll be ready later today. So you can check that out. Go over, subscribe to the channel in advance, and if you want, you can rat me out and let her know that I actually made a video today so she can yell at me. That's your reward. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, I will allow you to go over to the Hatcher Movie channel, subscribe, and then go, he was actually making a video today. Get him! But you can only do that if you made it to the end of the video. If you say the comment, you can say you, and you know what? Let me know here that you did it. After you go there and do it, after you're done watching the movie, come on back, or movies, when you're done watching my video, come back and say, yo, or let me know you're on your way over there to do it. I'm about to rat you out. Either is acceptable. So I'll be doing a live stream tonight over on my other YouTube channel, presumably, unless I pass out, because I really genuinely am under the weather and I'm using up a bunch of my energy to do this. But if everything goes well, I'll be over on my other live stream, on my other channel tonight, my live stream channel, talking about some of the stuff that's been going on with Magic. If you want to show up and talk about some of it with me, you're welcome to do so. If there's particular issues you want to hear me talk about, come tell me, because I need to make a list of all. Wizards put out so many announcements this weekend, and I'm just going to be playing catch up, and there's probably stuff that I have missed. So you can help me out by coming and doing that. Now, get on up out of here, you scamp. Head on over to Hatcher Movie Talks and rat me out to my wife. Thanks for coming, my friends. Big shout out to my patrons, and I will see you all in the next video.